For generations, the townsfolk of Raven's Hollow had whispered tales of Blackwood Forest. It was a dense, shadowy woodland that stretched for miles, its towering trees blocking out the sun, creating an eerie twilight even at midday. The forest was said to be haunted by a phantom, a restless spirit that roamed its depths, searching for something lost to time. The stories varied. Some said it was the ghost of a wronged lover. Others spoke of a cursed wanderer. But all agreed on one thing. Anyone who ventured too far into Blackwood Forest risked encountering the phantom and never returning. Emma, a young historian with a passion for uncovering the truth behind local legends, had always been fascinated by the stories of Blackwood Forest. She spent hours in the town library, poring over old records and newspaper clippings, trying to piece together the history of the phantom. Despite the warnings from the townsfolk, her curiosity grew stronger with each passing day. She was determined to solve the mystery of Blackwood Forest and prove that the tales of the phantom were either based on real events or mere fabrications. One crisp autumn afternoon, Emma decided it was time to investigate Blackwood Forest for herself. She packed her backpack with essentials, a flashlight, a notebook, some snacks, and a map of the forest she had painstakingly pieced together from old records. She knew the risks, but her determination to uncover the truth outweighed her fear. As she left her cozy home and walked towards the forest, she felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The path leading to Blackwood Forest was overgrown and rarely traveled. As she approached the edge of the woods, the atmosphere grew noticeably colder. The trees loomed overhead, their gnarled branches intertwining like skeletal fingers. Emma paused for a moment, taking a deep breath before stepping into the shadows. The forest seemed to swallow her up, the sounds of the outside world fading away. With each step, the sense of isolation grew stronger, but so did her resolve. She was determined to uncover the secrets that lay hidden within the forest's depths. As Emma ventured deeper into Blackwood Forest, she felt an unsettling presence. The trees seemed to close in around her, their branches whispering in the wind. The forest floor was littered with leaves, and each step she took produced a soft crunch that echoed through the silence. She followed the path she had mapped out, her flashlight casting a narrow beam of light that barely penetrated the darkness. Suddenly, she heard a rustling noise behind her. Turning quickly, Emma saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was a translucent form, barely distinguishable from the surrounding trees. The figure seemed to glide rather than walk, its movement smooth and eerie. Emma's heart raced, but she forced herself to stay calm. She raised her flashlight, illuminating the figure more clearly. It was a woman, dressed in old-fashioned clothing, her face pale and sorrowful. Emma's breath caught in her throat as the phantom began to speak, its voice a haunting whisper that sent chills down her spine. The phantom introduced herself as Eliza, a woman who had lived over a century ago. She told Emma a tragic story of love and loss. Eliza had fallen in love with a young man named William, but their love was forbidden by her strict family. One night, they planned to elope and start a new life together, far from the oppressive rules of her family. They chose Blackwood Forest as their meeting place, hoping to escape unnoticed. But fate had other plans. On the night of their planned escape, a terrible storm swept through the forest. Eliza waited for hours, but William never arrived. Desperate and heartbroken, she searched the forest for him, calling his name into the howling wind. It wasn't until dawn that she found him, lying lifeless near a fallen tree, a victim of the storm. Overcome with grief, Eliza wandered the forest, unable to leave William's side. She eventually succumbed to the cold and her broken heart, her spirit forever bound to the place where her dreams had been shattered. Emma listened to Eliza's story with a heavy heart. She felt a deep sympathy for the phantom and a strong desire to help her find peace. Eliza explained that she had been searching for something ever since her death, but she didn't know what it was. Emma believed that finding and understanding what Eliza sought could be the key to freeing her spirit. She promised Eliza that she would do everything in her power to help. With Eliza's guidance, Emma continued her exploration of the forest. They visited places that had been significant to Eliza and William: the clearing where they had planned to meet, the fallen tree where William had perished, and the stream where they had spent countless afternoons together. Each location was steeped in sorrow, the memories of a love that had ended too soon. As they retraced the steps of Eliza's past, Emma began to piece together a clearer picture of the events that had led to her untimely demise. In one of the clearings, Emma noticed something unusual. Among the roots of an ancient tree, she found a small, weathered box. The box was locked, but with Eliza's encouragement, Emma managed to open it. Inside, she found a letter addressed to Eliza from William. The letter, written in William's delicate handwriting, detailed his love for her and his desperate hope that they would be able to escape together. He had hidden the letter in the forest, intending to give it to her once they were safely away from her family. As Emma read the letter aloud, Eliza's spirit seemed to grow more substantial. The love and longing in William's words were palpable, and Emma felt tears welling up in her eyes. She realized that this letter was what Eliza had been searching for all these years. It was the missing piece of their story, a final message of love that had been lost to time. With the letter in hand, Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. She knew that she was close to helping Eliza find the piece she so desperately needed. Eliza explained to Emma that there was an old ritual that could help her spirit move on. The ritual required a personal item, something that held great significance to the spirit. William's letter was the perfect token. Emma agreed to perform the ritual, hoping it would finally bring Eliza the peace she deserved. They returned to the clearing where Eliza and William had planned to meet, the most significant place in their story. Under Eliza's guidance, Emma gathered the necessary elements for the ritual: a circle of stones, a small fire, and the letter. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the forest floor, Emma prepared herself for the task ahead. She lit the fire and placed the letter at its center, then began to recite the ancient words that Eliza had taught her. The air around them seemed to hum with energy, and the temperature dropped noticeably. Emma's voice trembled as she continued the incantation, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on her. As Emma completed the ritual, a soft glow enveloped Eliza's spirit. The light grew brighter, and Eliza's form became more solid, her features clearer. She looked at Emma with gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "You have given me what I have been searching for all these years. I can finally be at peace." Eliza's spirit began to rise, the light surrounding her growing more intense. Emma watched in awe as the ghostly figure of Eliza seemed to dissolve into the light, her presence lifting the shadows that had long haunted the forest. The air grew warmer, and the oppressive feeling that had hung over Blackwood Forest began to dissipate. For the first time in generations, the forest felt alive, filled with the promise of new beginnings. Emma felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had helped to heal a wound that had festered for over a century. In the days that followed, the changes in Blackwood Forest were noticeable. The once dark and foreboding woods now seemed inviting and peaceful. Birds sang in the trees, and sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting a warm golden glow on the forest floor. The oppressive atmosphere that had plagued the forest for so long was gone, replaced by a sense of tranquility. Word of Emma's encounter with the phantom spread through Raven's Hollow. The townsfolk, who had long avoided the forest, began to see it in a new light. Guided by Emma's example, they ventured into the woods, drawn by the stories of her bravery and the transformation she had brought about. Blackwood Forest, once a place of fear and sorrow, became a symbol of hope and redemption. Emma's discovery and the subsequent release of Eliza's spirit had not only changed the forest, but had also brought the community closer together. Emma's life changed as well. She became a local hero, her story inspiring others to face their fears and seek the truth. She continued her work as a historian, uncovering and preserving the stories of the past. Her experience in Blackwood Forest had taught her the importance of empathy, courage, and the power of love. She knew that Eliza and William's story would always hold a special place in her heart. Emma often visited the forest, now a place of solace and reflection.